Hello, welcome guys. Last class we talked about arrays and I show you so many examples of how you use an arrays. Arrays are very important. But in this class we're going to be talking about a new very important concept. Very awesome and sweet concept. As we go down, as we go further, the topic becomes very, very interesting. And this is a very new, no, it's not actually new to you. If you've been following our video tutorials, we've not discussed about it, but we'll be using it. So what I'll be teaching you guys today is a concept called function or methods. It's called methods or function. For the sake of this language, I'll be calling them functions for now. So functions. So if you look at this place now, void main is a function. It's a main function. If you remember last time, I was telling you about function or a main method. So this is a main function. It is the most important function in your Dart program because everything starts and ends in the main. But at some point when you're writing your programs, you create multiple functions as the case may be. So a function is more like a way to reuse code. You can create a piece of code and wrap it in a function and then reuse it in your entire app. Or you can say a function is more like a steps of doing things, contain a list of steps of doing things, like a method of doing things. Just understand it like it's a way of reusing code where you write a particular things inside a function and then you use it somewhere other place whenever you need to use something like that. Let's say you have a function that adds two numbers together. Whenever you want to add two numbers together in your program, you call that function to come and do that for you instead of reinventing the wheel. So function is very, very important. They are very, very used in every programming language. So I'm going to teach you guys today and I believe you're going to understand it, learn it and make use of it in your career as a developer. So to create a function, let me go down here and say, first of all, you have the first syntax. First thing here is called the return type. The first thing you're going to write in a function is the return type. In this case, we have void here. Void, whenever you write void, it means this function is not going to return anything. So void means don't return, you're not returning anything. The next thing is the name of the function. Let's say print hello. And the next thing is what? The parameters. Sometimes you have something here or sometimes you don't have anything here. But for now, let's make it very simple. And you say print hello from new function, right? So if I run this now, what should I get? I'm not getting anything. Why? Because this print hello, I've created it, but I'm not using it anywhere. The only time a function is useful is when it is being referenced in the main. When you are calling it in the main, it's called calling the function. But you're not calling it anywhere, so you have to call it in the main before it is useful. So what will I do? I'll say print hello. So to call a function, you just write the name of the function. Very as simple as that. So if I run this right now, you see hello from the new function. I don't know if you understand. So this is how you do it. But this is a very basic, simple function that doesn't do much, just print something. But imagine when you have 1,000 line of code that you need to reuse. Whenever you want to reuse that code, you just have to call the name print me, and then everything is done. You're all right. So you see how important functions can be. Let's continue. Let's say I have print hello and the name of the person that I want to say hello to. I can say print hello Anthony. I run it. It works, right? But what if I want to pass in an extra information to this function and say, okay, whenever I want to call this function, I want it to call it with somebody's name because I want to say hello to somebody. So for you to do that, there's what you call an argument. Let me read this. So an argument is after the parentheses, you had a variable here. Let's say string name. So an argument is an extra information a function needs in order to execute. Let's say if I want to greet somebody and I say, hello, John. I have to say hello somebody, right? So an argument is an extra information a function needs in order to be able to execute, right? So let's say hello and then name. I've taught you guys how to use variable now. Let's say print hello. You see, when I want to print hello now, if I leave it like this, I'll get an error. It says what? You have an argument, but I didn't specify it yet. So here now, let me explain these things for you. When you're creating this string name here, it is called what? A parameter. When you're creating it in the function itself, it is called what? A parameter. But when you're passing the value here, I say, remove Anthony here, hello. If I say Anthony here, or let's say John here. When you're giving it a value here, it is called an argument. But when you're creating it in the function here, it is called what? A parameter. When you're giving it a value, it is called an argument. So try to understand these two differences because so many people interchange them, but I want you to understand it very well. So that is it. So this is a parameter is an extra information a function needs in order to execute. All the times you put it inside the parentheses. So let's say you have multiple parameter. Let's say you have here, you have int age. You still put comma and pass it. And also when you are giving it, you also do it exactly the same thing, age 10. And make sure it matches. So if here is the name, you pass in the name here. If here is the age, you pass in the age here. Don't ever forget. So you can go as much as possible. You can still say double currency, whatever. The same way you have to pass it as well. 20.5. You continue doing it like this. But let's say I'm using the currency. Let's say I'm using this. I'll say age. I'll say currency. So if I run it, I'll see everything, right? Even though it doesn't make sense, but just understand how these things work. So I want you to understand this very, very well because it's very, very important. So let me create another function and then give you an example of. Let me just comment this out. Let me have some space. So let me say I create a function that add two numbers together. I'll say void. Like I said, it doesn't return anything, but I will still give you an example of function that returns something. Add numbers. So if you want to add numbers, you have to give me numbers to add, right? So let's say int first number and then int second number. This is a regular variable here. The only difference is that it is embedded in a function. So I can say int sum is equals to what? First number plus second number, right? Then I'll say print sum. I can say the sum of the numbers is sum, right? And I'll come here and say add numbers. This is not new to you by now. I say 10 and 5, right? The sum of the number is 15. 10 plus 5 is what? 15. So let's say I needed 5 to 10 places. I need to add two numbers together. I'll just call this function there and then I'll add it. Even if I pass in any number here, 1 and 5, it will still add it for me. If I add 1 and 20, it will still add it for me. You understand? This is how useful a function is. So this is a function that does not return anything. So sometimes, many times, a function will return something. So let me show you how to do that again. So when a function returns something, this is how you work with it. Let me comment this out as well. Let me write this thing down so that you reference it if you want. So here I have print hello, and I have, I'm clearing it here. I have 5, I have 10.5, and I comment it. So I just want you to reference it if you want. So here we have, like I told you, the first thing you're going to write is the return type. Let's say I want to return multiple of two numbers. If I multiply two numbers, I have here, let's say I have an integer. I have product of two numbers. The two numbers, I will have int first and int second. So I'm getting an error because whenever you're returning something, whenever you have a return type, you must return it. And most of the times, it has to be in your last statement. Let me show you what I mean. So I will say int product is equals to first times second or last, whatever. Say return product. So return statements, most of the times you're using return statement whenever your function or your method is to return something. In this case, I'm returning an integer. And whatever you say you're returning here, it must specify whatever you're returning here. So here now, this is an integer variable, right? And I'm returning it. So it has to match whatever you said you're returning here. You can't be returning string here. And you come here and say return product. It cannot work because product itself is an integer. It has to be an int, right? So if I go here now and say product two numbers, I'll say 5 times 4. If I run it, I don't see anything. I don't see anything because return, I'm not using it, I'm returning it back to the calling function. So return this thing back to wherever I'm calling it. So here now, the product here is returned back to wherever I'm calling it. So it is returned back to this place. So I have to store it somewhere. I say int, because here the return type is int. So here should be int as well. Int is what? Product. This product you're seeing here is equals to this. This is one cool thing about return, and it's very hard for people to understand. So return product means whatever I have here, if I have 5 here, I return it back to any function that is going to call me. So let's say I call you now with 5 and 4. 5 times 4. I will say, okay, 5 times 4 is 20. So return 20 to whatever is calling me. And who is calling this? This is where I'm calling it. So 20 is returned back and it is stored in this variable called product. And I'll say print product. Let me run it and see. 20. I hope you understand. Let me recap one more time because it's very, very important you understand this. So a function that returns something. I have int first number and then int second. I say int product is equals to first times second. I already have my product. Yeah, at this point my answer here is 20. But instead of printing it, since I'm returning something, I say return product. And like I said, remember, your return statement should always come last. Because whenever the compiler encounters the return statement, it will stop executing. Once it returns, it stops executing. So if I put anything here and say int age is equals to 4, this will be ignored. You see, it is gray. This will be ignored because the function has already finished executing. So whenever your function encounters return, it will stop executing after that statement. So your return statement should always come last. This is very important. So, and I say this product here must match the value here. So this return product means whenever somebody is calling this product of two numbers from, return the values of product back to that place. So here now, I say product of two numbers, 5 and 4. The product is being returned to me here, and I will store it in a variable. You can call this in whatever, you can call it answer, whatever. Then here you put answer. It will still work, but I'm just trying to use the same name so that you understand that this same product here is the same thing I'm getting here. Then you can print it. It will still be the same thing. So I don't know if you understand. And even here again, you can still do something with the answer. If you say answer times or answer plus 6, you can do whatever you want to do with it to still work. I guess that is it for function. And thank you guys for watching. And I hope you will subscribe, like, and comment. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.